bus at an old gas station that Dad was renting. You remember this gas station? Yep. And this is a different time, so if you're younger than maybe 30 or maybe 40, you won't understand this whatsoever. There were no adults there. It was me, and there was a mechanic in the bay. Well, I was supposed to be pumping gas, and I did that because it was full service. But in between pumping gas, and it's a really small town, I would actually climb down into the oil pit, if you remember the oil pits. And I would read a comic book in the corner with a flashlight. And I'm sure that mechanic hated me because I was in his way all the time. But he was always very kind to me. But that's my first memory of auto service. Dad bought his first service department on Chalon Drive about a mile and a half from here. I was 26, maybe 27 years old. He told me one day I was going to be the service writer. And of course I asked him, what's the service writer? And he said, we just be selling service. Okay. I trusted my dad. I still didn't know what a service writer was. A few years ago, I asked my mom if I should expand my service department here. She asked me why. When I asked my dad, he asked me why not. Those three pivotal moments kind of shaped my entire life and my entire career. The first was me sitting in the oil pit reading comic books, but something very important here. I was surrounded by someone that knew more than I did. And I was subconsciously watching what he was doing, which is actually the number one success rule or a secret, if you will, of my father, which is surround yourself with good people and they'll push you to the top. I'll be the first to admit I'm not great at anything other than bringing great people together, sharing my vision, training on my vision, and letting them execute the vision. The second, when he bought the service center on Chalon Drive and telling me I was going to be the service writer, I didn't know what a service writer was, but he threw me into the deep end of the pool, and it forced me to figure things out. A lot of parents don't do that these days because they're afraid their children will get upset and then they won't like them. My dad was never afraid not to be my friend. He was always a parent, and he knew that that was what I needed to do. And I learned how to be a service writer. I was a really good service writer before it was over. And number three, my mom asking me why and my dad asking me why not forced me to see both sides of an opportunity. And that's difficult in life. They say yes or they say no, and they give their opinions, but a why and a why not, two very important questions. Maybe two of the most important questions in business. Why and why not? And I can say without a shadow of a doubt I had both of those points of view, and it forced me to think both ways. If you don't own a small business or you don't know anything about service, I'd like to share this with you, and then I'll let you go. When we're operating at full capacity here, which we will be sooner than later, this facility has the opportunity to contribute $3 million to our local economy every year. It took me about 4 days to do that math. And that does not include the money we spend with our vendor partners, who some are here today, and we really appreciate you being here, on parts and supplying their families with income. It's just the tip of the iceberg. So it is a beautiful day for ribbon cutting. And that's what we're going to do right now.